Well, hi there everybody and welcome back to A Year in the Woods. Today we're heading up to St Mabyn, up to see my old mate Tom Bray, cider maker up at Hayward's Farm. Towards the end of October. Tom says he's been busy harvesting the apples. He's promised to show me around, give me a bit of advice, and hopefully get me started making some cider. The guns on pegs, boys. Thank you, George. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Jake. They've challenged me to make some cider this year, and I don't think I could have come to a better place. Down here at Hayward's Farm, home of the famous Hayward Farm Cider, and we're in the middle of the orchards. So I'm going to pop up, see if I can catch up with Tom, get some advice from him, how to make a hopefully competition award-winning cider. But to be honest, as long as I make a drinkable cider, I'll be more than happy. But I can't think of a better place to start than here. So, let's go find Tom. So I'm down with Tom Bray at Hayward's Farm Cider. The Guns on Pegs boys have challenged me to try and make some cider of my own, and I rather rashly at the Royal Cornwall show spoke to, what was her name?
Nikki, I'd imagine,
right,
yeah.
Because they had posters up saying, enter the competition for cider for next year's show.
Yes, yeah.
And I said yes, which is a bit stupid because I've made a few bits of booze before but never made cider. So hopefully Tom's going to show me around Hayward Farm. We've done a few bits together over the years. Big fan of the cider down here. So Tom, tell me a little bit about Hayward's Farm, how you've got to this point, where it started, and how things are for you.
Very briefly, I'm very lucky. My great grandparents bought the farm over 100 years ago.
Yeah.
So I was very fortunate to have a bit of ground to plant my trees, but none of my family ever made cider. And then when I left school first, I was gamekeeping up Newton Ferrers up near Carrington.
Yeah.
And there was an old, again, I didn't have any experience with cider at this point, but there was an old Carswell, old farmer across the valley. And me and the head keeper went to see him one day, and he had a lovely old stone barn and a great old sort of Victorian cider press and big slate troughs and oak barrels. And he gave us some of his cider, and it was horrible. It was just like vinegar, right? But then I thought then that would be a really good way of making lots of booze quite cheaply, and maybe in the future, me and my friends could grow a few apples and start a cider club. And then 20 years ago, or around 20 years ago, a friend asked me up St Mabyn pub if my dad had a honey press that he could use to press out some apples. And I said, no, I don't want to do that. We'll build a big cider press, and we'll start a little cider club. And that's what we did. We built this sort of old Victorian style cider press. And my uncle's a tool maker, so he did the metal work for us.
Really? So the old press, you built it?
Yeah, built it, yeah.
That's amazing. Because, cider in the West Country, a lot of people think of cider as a West Country thing, but it is mainly, much, much bigger in Somerset and down in Cornwall. And obviously on the North Coast, it's quite rare. Because when the guys at Guns on Pegs said to me, first of all, right, Abe, you're in Cornwall, you make cider. And it's like, well, the North Coast really doesn't have orchards. We don't, because of the conditions. And it's really just down here in the Camel Valley.
Yeah, that's right. But years ago, 18th century and before, every farm, even if the apple conditions weren't great, every farm made a bit of cider.
Yes.
Because it
wages, a lot of it, wasn't it?
Yeah, wages, and you couldn't attract seasonal workers, if going around doing the harvest or shearing sheep, they would go to the farm that had the best cider.
Really?
And if you didn't have cider, you might not have anybody. So it was really important. But of course, the old cider presses used to be driven by the heavy horse of a farm horse.
Right.
So combination of the First World War and all the men going off to work.
Yes.
Labour was short, so the cider didn't get made. And around then as well, the tractor did away with the farm horse.
Yeah. Yes.
So a combination of technology and a war kind of spat the end for sort of small scale cider making, but Somerset kind of kept going a bit more commercially than everywhere else. But there are regions that made more cider than others, aren't they? Like down on the south coast, like you say.
Yeah. Sort of on the Fal Estuary and around there, there's still quite a bit. But I guess a lot of the old orchards were grubbed up.
Yes. Yeah.
As well, weren't they?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So when you decided to make cider here and build the press, was there a small orchard here originally, or?
No, there was there was a really ancient old orchard that I couldn't really see anything left, and my grandparents planted, a dozen trees or so 50 years ago. And then so we didn't really have my cider club when we first started out. We used to just go around orchards and gardens and pick unwanted apples.
Yes.
And then I just got really into it and started researching varieties that would produce good cider and grow well in damp, mild Cornwall.
Yes.
And then basically, I didn't really have much money at the time, but I brought the rootstocks. I brought a couple thousand rootstocks from a nursery in Hereford and planted them out, and then I grafted on the varieties the next summer.
Yes.
And I propagated the trees and brought them on, and I did that 3 years running. And then I transplanted them to our orchards that are now. And so after about 4 years, then we started to get a bit of a crop. And
really,
it's been
it takes that long. Am I right in thinking, I don't know much about propagation, but if you just plant the seeds, you don't necessarily get the same variety back.
Yeah, that's right. If you planted a seed from a Bramley apple, for instance, it grows up and then eventually it'll start to crop, but it wouldn't be a true to the Bramley because the insect that pollinated that flower had been off somewhere else.
Right.
So what we used to do years ago with all the straw, we used to press it down through straw, like we used to do when we started, and all the pips and all the apple were in there, and then they would spread that in the corner of the field, plough it in, and then all these little apple tree saplings would start growing up.
Yes.
And then they would go off and take pruning some variety for tree they wanted, and then they would graft it onto these.
Onto the rootstocks.
Yeah. But a rootstock grown from a seed grows into a massive, 30-foot tree, 40-foot tree.
Yeah.
So over the years, they developed apple trees with more dwarfing qualities.
Okay.
They're apple trees, but they're called rootstocks. So now you've got dozens to choose from, but some will make patio-sized trees, some will make bigger ones, some are better in heavy soils, some are better in sandy soils. So you've got all these different rootstocks.
Yes.
And then you've got thousands of different varieties that you can graft onto your rootstock.
Yes.
And you just need to think about it a bit. You don't want a very weak growing apple variety on a weak rootstock,
Sure. And it's obviously not a quick turnaround. If you've got to wait 4 years for your first crop to find out if that stock and variety has actually worked.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and no one's
another 6-12 months to find out if it makes good cider. Yeah.
I suppose most of the varieties I propagated, I had was able to do some research, but not first hand, if you like. But like I say, the main disease resistant in Cornwall is important because we don't spray our trees and stuff. So this, like I say, mild damp air is not good for fruit trees. And you want you want quite a strong tree, ideally, you know, put up with our wind down here.
And the salt burn, I guess, can be an issue.
Yeah,
as well.
like you say, we're tucked in land a bit, so it's not too bad here.
We're
But
right on the top of Tintagel, so
yeah,
we've got the classic Cornish bonsai, everything's
yeah, exactly, yeah,
3 foot tall and growing very much to the east.
yeah, yeah. Where you spots like that, you can't beat local varieties because they've been tried and tested, and you know the reason they grow from there is because they survive there.
Yeah, absolutely. So what varieties have you planted on the farm here then?
So I've got we got over 3,000 trees, I think, now, but sort of around 80% of them are bittersweet apples, so they're high in tannin, give the cider a bit of character and a bit of roundness, and they're quite high in sugars as well. Varieties like Dabinet and Harry Masters Jersey, and some Free Counties and some Helen's apples. They're a bit earlier cropping.
Yes.
But I like to put some more Cucuritas in with it as well.
Yeah.
And then it just gives it a bit more acidity and makes it just a bit more appley as well.
And have you got any of the sort of more traditional Cornish varieties?
Yeah, I've got Tom Put and Cornish aromatic and stuff like that.
Yes.
Most of my bittersweet varieties are sort of Devon Somerset varieties, to be honest, because I'm not sure. I wonder, the Cornish varieties are quite often quite high acid. Right. And I wonder if that's like partly nature's way. I wonder if the high acid apples have got like a bit more disease resistant because of their acidity, but that might not be true.
Yes.
But yeah, I got a nice selection of apples.
Fantastic. I mean, I was reading somewhere they were saying that the origins of Scrumpy is, it's a rough, bitter cider, and that's what apparently the workers were looking for, quite an aggressive cider. And you do wonder if that's what they were actually looking for, or that's what those Cornish varietals produce.
Yes, yeah. And you don't really, we do cider from the barrel, but you don't really find proper Scrumpy anymore, because probably for good reason, because a Scrumpy is you put the juice into a barrel to ferment.
Yes.
You let it do its thing, you let it ferment, and the dead yeast will drop to the bottom of the tank, and then you wait till New Year probably, and you tap it and drink it, and it's completely nothing done to it at all. But because it's left on the lees of the sediment, I find, after all our cider club cider used to be done that way.
Yes.
But it doesn't give it a long shelf life because it's sort of sat on the dead yeast.
Right.
After sort of 10 months or in a hot summer, the condition sort of goes away. So we do some like really traditional ciders, but they're not strictly Scrumpy because we rack them off and blend them. So
yes,
in my mind, any kind of not interference is the wrong word, but any kind of thing like that makes it not Scrumpy. Scrumpy's bung it in a barrel, let it ferment, and drink it.
Yes, but I think it would be difficult to introduce that to modern palates.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. People come down here sometimes, and they, I like dry cider, but they like dry pub cider, but dry traditional ciders are, twice as dry.
Yes.
And,
yes. So what are you making now? What are your big sellers? What are your favourites? What's the range?
Yeah, from the farm we sell mostly from the barrel because you can't find that very often these days. So we have a dry cider which is all bittersweet varieties, and then we have some sweet cider in the barrel, which again is sort of more like 70% bittersweet varieties, and then we put some Cornish in there and some KT as well, just to lighten it up. And then people can come down and blend I like 90% dry, 10% sweet, but some people like it 50-50 or all sweet.
You do a lot of events through the summer. The last one we came to, I was drinking the 50-50, and it's they're rather too drinkable sometimes.
Yes, yeah. So
the events have really taken off there, haven't they? Tell us a little bit about those.
Yeah, we I don't know when I started doing those, 12, 14 years ago. So I started in our old barn, but we sort of expanded a bit. But yeah, it's not really rocket science. We just have some decent live music on the go. We have some really good local bands, and we have bands from Bristol and further up, and Scotland, and European bands. We've got a good little reputation, really. And then I've got a chef friend, Ben Gregan. He does some really good cooking here. And yeah, we serve
the food.
Yes, yeah, it is really good.
Afternoon entertainment, isn't it?
Yeah.
You do usually Sundays. Is it once or twice a month during the summer?
Yeah, about twice a month during the summer, and yeah, like 3 till 7, and yeah, it's a good little afternoon, and you know, everybody likes it here. You know, you can be we have people in their 90s, and families come, and you know, lads come, and everyone will never any trouble, and everyone mixes in, and it's a good, nice little afternoon.
Yeah, they are good fun. We managed 2 or 3 of them. Brought some friends down this year.
No, yeah, well done.
They're really good fun. Really good.
Yeah.
So you've gone from cider club. It's now obviously a business. I see you're selling in most of the or a lot of the shops around Cornwall.
Yeah.
What are your hopes for the plans for the business?
Just try to keep it, make it a bit more efficient, but you know, I've got it good at the moment, really, because some days I'm in the orchard, and some days I might pop out, do a delivery, and I might show somebody around. So if I got too big, it could become a headache, and I'm not very good at managing other people. So I've got a small team at the moment, so I don't want a big team.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think we face exactly the same problems when we had the distillery.
Oh yes, yeah.
But if you're not careful, all of a sudden, all of the time, all the stuff you used to enjoy goes.
Yeah.
Because you're in meetings all the time, and you've got to meet with buyers, and you've got to meet with finance people, and you've got to do this, that, and the other. Whereas actually, all we wanted to do was make gin and drink gin and talk to people about gin. So
yes, yeah.
Very much the same for you guys.
Yeah, it's great. I think I'm right in saying we're the only. Well, anyway, we grow. It's quite rare for cider makers to grow all their own apples, so everything's grown here. So that kind of almost caps your business, which is a nice thing. Otherwise, if you're just buying in apples or using like apple concentrate, I'm very lucky. I had some land to plant with trees, so I don't blame other people for. But everything's grown here anyway. That's the positive of here. But yeah, kind of like caps your business, which is a good thing in a way, I think. You know what I mean?
It's that opposite, isn't it? You can't.
Yeah.
It doesn't become corporate.
No.
It takes the joy out.
And if you're buying in, there's no like, where do you stop? You know, you might start supplying that wholesaler or that brewery, and like.
It's just bigger machines, bigger bottling plants, bigger.
Yeah.
And you lose.
That's right. Yeah.
What you were doing it for.
Yeah, and I wouldn't like to gamble with those investment numbers either.
No. So. That's always a problem with investment, isn't it? At some point they want their money back.
Yeah, that's the trouble. Yeah.
So the question I've been asked by the lads, and it comes up all the time with cider, is what's your take on the story behind it has to have a dead rat or a badger or a cat in it? Where do you sit on that?
Yeah.
Where do you come from?
Yeah, an old wives' tale, really. I could imagine somebody years ago putting like a piece of meat in to like try to feed the yeast or something, but I've never with cider. I've never had a problem with things fermenting. You know what I mean? I've never had to like feed the yeast with anything or anything. So I'm not saying it's never happened, but I can't see any reason for doing it. You know what I mean? So
I completely agree with you. I've looked at all sorts of different stories. So the only one I can think of is that when they were fermenting in open vats, if something fell in, rather than spoil the batch, it was kind of the folk were, well, it's meant to be there, and that's what we do.
Yeah.
Rather than any rationale for putting it in the first place.
Yeah, stop the missus drinking it, I suppose, wouldn't
it?
Well,
So what's the process then? I mean, hopefully we'll whiz out and have a look round. from picking right the way through pressing and onwards. But just as for people watching, just a potted history. So the apples are grown. I mean, it's interesting. You're harvesting in October. Is that the standard harvesting time for cider apples?
Yeah, you want them. You'll see in the orchard. People get a bit eager sometimes. You want the apples nice and ripe. This year we haven't really shook the tree much because there's so many. But if an apple's on the floor, generally, unless there's been a gale, it's ripe.
Okay.
You don't want to be a nice ripe apples full of sugar.
Yes.
And then
which is what the yeast want.
Yeah, and more sugar, more alcohol, and the more alcohol, the more fun. And it's also a natural preserver alcohol, so it's all good. So yeah, you don't want to be picking apples too early. But when I planted the orchard, I put some really early apples in and some quite late apples to kind of spread the season as much as we can. But yeah, as far as the process goes, it's a very simple process. We got our big fermentation tanks. We harvest the apples, we press them.
Yes.
We pump the juice into big fermentation tanks.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we'll add a strain of yeast, and sometimes we leave it go to the wild yeast. I've done trials, and I don't think there's an awful lot in it really.
Yes.
Then as it ferments, like anything else, it'll be giving off carbon dioxide, and converting the natural sugars into alcohol. All the dead yeast and any sediment will drop to the bottom of the tank.
Yes.
And then we leave ours over winter to sort of like mature in the fermentation tanks.
So are they using stainless steel tanks?
Yeah, I've got some stainless steel, and then I've got some food grade plastic ones.
Yes.
And this year anything I can grab my hands on because we've got so many apples. Chuck it in there.
It has been a last year for everything, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. And then we're in the spring, and we quite often, when we're making it, are filling it up with a single variety, for instance.
Yes.
And then in the spring we rack it off and we pump all the nice clear cider off the sediment.
Yes.
And at that point we might blend it, we might fill it up at 70%, bit of sweet in here, and then add some Katie or something.
And how much does it vary year to year? Because I guess you'll have years like this year where you've got a hell of a lot of apples. Will you get years where you have a higher sugar content or lower sugar content?
Yeah, the sugar content does vary. Yeah, this year's quite high.
Yes.
But yeah, the end result is quite uniform, really. But I find there's probably more variation in our barreled cider.
Yes. Well, barrels are magic, aren't they? There's
exactly.
All sorts of weird chemistry going on inside a barrel.
Yes, yeah. It's our bottle cider range is kind of just a range, just the process really just is a bit more standard, I guess.
And how long does the fermentation take? Because I know that the few I've done, a rum ferment can be done in a day. Whiskies can take 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's a bit like that, really. It's I would say with cider, 4 weeks sort of minimum to get it, or maybe three weeks minimum to get it dry right out. But then if like next week's supposed to be cold, that might stop it completely, and then it would just pick up again.
Yes.
Cider's quite.
It will go dormant, won't it?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, it's caught people out in the past as well. They've caught me out in the past. When we had cider club, you start with you put an airlock on top of your barrel or on top of your vessel.
Yes.
You let everything ferment and the carbon dioxide escape.
So what's the airlock for?
To let the carbon dioxide escape.
Yes.
But stop the oxygen getting in.
Okay.
And with a barrel before I've had it, and I thought, it's finished fermenting. Didn't really check it much, and then you put a wooden bung in the top of your barrel, and then I went in there years ago now, and the oak, it's inch thick on the end of the oak barrel.
Yes.
was splitting out through the pressure of the carbon dioxide. So luckily we're able to, give it a bit. But yeah, so you've got to watch it really. But it's not with with brewing and I guess probably some cider makers, they do temperature control and all that malarkey. But we're quite sort of traditional down here, so we just let it do its own thing. And sometimes it's quick, sometimes it stops and starts.
Yes.
And I guess when I first started, I was probably checking it more, and I guess I'm more experienced and more lacquer these days. So
I found that with the distilling, to start with, you're over at like the first ball.
Yeah.
And after a while, you can almost, it sounds weird, but you can almost tell what a machine's doing by the sound it's making.
Yes, yeah.
Or by the colour in the barrel, and you just that experience, you know what's going on.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And you're that much more. You're a bit older and a bit more tired, so it's like.
And I think the weird thing I've always found with yeast is those temperature fluctuations can really change flavours, can't they? Because a very stressed yeast, if it's too hot or too high concentration, will start producing off flavours. And it's trying to find that perfect, slightly warm, slightly cool as the yeast develops and goes dormant a bit.
Yes, yeah. That's right. And I find, I know you've got some smaller tubs today, but I find I don't have, I have big tanks, but I think it's almost, the fermentation seems to be better almost in a larger volume sometimes. I don't know why. And maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe that's nonsense, but I don't know. It's like the cider does better with company, it's sort of...
Right. Should we go out and pick some apples?
Yeah, I'll do. Yeah, well done.
Excellent.
He's a bugger to start sometimes.
That sounded like some pretty technical banging, like they always say. It's not what you're banging with, it's knowing where to give it a bang. Right, follow Tom down the orchard. Well, we're out in the orchard now. Tom's got the apple pecker. As he was saying, he knows when they're ripe when they're on the ground. It's enormous. I never knew the orchard was this big. So we're heading down the bottom now. Tom's going to get the picker fired up. And then hopefully he'll tell me a little bit about some of the different varieties. And then we'll go back up and get a few of them pressed. But what's been amazing to see is the number of songbirds that are in this apple orchard. But when Tom said he planted 3,000 apple trees, it just sounds like a number. But when you actually come down and see them, it's hell of an impressive undertaking.
Oh, here's a few apples.
So what varieties are these?
Yeah, these are Dabinet.
Yes.
Most of them are on the ground now, which is a good sign because it shows they're ripe. Sometimes we come along with a tree shaker and we're shaking them on the ground.
Yes.
But this year we got so many apples and I'm just desperate to get them all in.
Definitely.
But I'm picking them off the ground, and if we get to it in November, we might come back and
shake off
the last.
Yes.
But these are Dabinet's a really good cider apple. It's a bittersweet, like I said earlier, so like high in tannin and high in sugars. It's quite soft flavour.
Yes.
It's probably the most widely grown cider apple in the UK. It's a bit weak for like Cornwall. It does pretty well here. Yes. But it's not a strong growing tree. I prefer the stronger grown varieties.
Yes.
But yeah, it's a really good cider apple. There's not any one cider apple that can't be improved with something else. So as much as I like Dabinet, I like ciders that have had some something a bit sharper put into them.
Yes.
Gives them a bit more bite and makes it taste a bit more appley. I like to harvest a tray load at a time.
Of course.
So we'll blend up a good trailer load.
Yes.
And then we use some of that juice for yourself and myself. So I think if we go with the Dabanet.
Yep.
And then over here we got another variety, Vetch's Perfection, I think, or I'm not sure if it's Vetch's or Veach's, but
somebody will tell us, I'm sure.
Yeah. Like I say, when you're making cider, it's nice to see them on the ground, and
Yeah.
If you're not sure, if you cut the apple open and you want nice, there's a pip in there somewhere, can't really see, but nice black pips will show it's ripe.
Yes, because they're sort of pale green white before that, aren't they?
Yes, yeah.
Well, these trees are very different. They almost look like russet.
Yeah, they are. It's a really nice eating apple as well, actually. But it's sometimes we use them for apple juice.
Yes.
Do you want to try that? Or?
Yeah, definitely.
There's a real nice flavour and a bit of acidity.
A little bit of sharpness, almost a bit of orange flavour in there as well. They'd be good with a sharp cheese, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they would, yeah. But I reckon we have 3/4 Dabanet.
Yep.
Bung some of these in. Jobs are good.
Right, here we go. This is picking apples. And there was me thinking we'd be out with little baskets and on our hands and knees, but stupidly, obviously, it's commercial scale. Well, that was brilliant seeing that. So Tom's just gone to fill up the trailer there. He's going for one of the other varieties, so we've got a nice mix in the juice. So I thought we'd just have a little look around. So I guess one of the hardest bits after the dry summer we've had is coming in to pick these apples up in October. As you can see, everything gets pretty wet underfoot. But I noticed there's some beehives down there. And if I remember to ask Tom, I guess he'll want the beehives in to help with the pollination of the apples. It's a much bigger orchard than I thought it was. But then again, I don't really know what I expected, but what an impressive sight. This is really cool. It'd be really nice to come back in the spring and see all of this in apple blossom. I bet it's An amazing sight. Anyway, I've just spotted an absolutely hanging slow bush. So have a quick look at those buggers. I'll be making my stage in the next couple of days. So let's have a look at this one. I know a lot of people have talked about a mast year, and a mast year being a year of abundance where every bush and tree seems to produce huge amounts of fruit. And this year in particular, I can't remember when I've seen slow bushes quite so lagged with fruit as these ones. I mean, usually when you're slow picking, you find the odd one or two close to the stem there, but look at the size of those buggers. Amazing. So, Tom, once the apples have been picked and washed, then they're crushed and
picked,
juiced,
that's right.
and then the juice comes in here. What's this submarine of a thing?
Yeah, we just use these are our posher tanks, but we got a. It doesn't matter what vessel you use, really. It doesn't really affect the cider, but all you can say is these tanks potentially make better cider because they're easier to get in and clean.
Yep.
So there's a spray ball in them as well.
Yes.
So you're less likely to miss a patch and have a problem. But if you start with an equally clean plastic tank, there's no reason that doesn't affect the fermentation at all.
Yes.
But yeah, basically, the juice comes in here.
So how big's this one?
14,500 litres, that one. And then, this has had a bit of yeast added on this particular tank.
Yes.
And it usually starts working away after 48 hours.
Uh-huh.
And, giving off carbon.
Do you let the yeast dry, or do you pitch it? How do you...
Yeah, usually, we put it in a bucket. Is that the posh word, pitching it? Yeah,
Apparently.
put it in a...
That's what I read.
Oh, yes, put it in there and put in a bit of juice, but I'm not sure makes much difference. But yeah, we let it get working a bit and then we pour it in. We just keep record of the acid levels and the sugar levels of the juice as well, because that determines the end alcohol result.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you how you work that out. So you work out how much sugar's there to begin with.
That's right. And then we ferment it whilst to dry, so we just take a reading at the start, and then we know when it's dry. You can look on a chart, and you can work there. I have got I have got some kit as well, alcohol reading kit now.
Yes.
Because it's easy to lose track. You start off, this is going to make a 6.5%, and that one will make a 4. But when you start blending it and moving it all round, you lose track of what's what. So.
And if you're selling it, you have to be quite...
Yeah, exactly,
the revenue like their slice, don't they?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So with these ones then, do you use specific gravity for the juice and calculate like you would home wine making or beer making?
Yeah, that's it, just a hydrometer and...
And what would you expect that initial reading from a good dose of apple juice?
Yeah, I'll check. James has been doing it today, but I should think it's somewhere like 0.055 at the moment.
Yes.
It might even be creeping up to 0.060.
Yes.
So yeah, usually our base cider comes out, about 6.5%, something like that. I don't. On a commercial scale, a lot of people add more sugar to it and put a strong yeast, and then end up with a 8-10% cider.
Yep.
And then they dilute it down to, but for like, we sort of do traditional ciders, so
yes,
we just, it sort of is what it is a bit. But yeah, it's quite a simple process, really. I like it. It's the same process as winemaking, but I often say that winemakers just use longer words and dress a bit smarter. But it's the same.
Have other people do it for you? I think it's the thing with wine.
Oh yeah. I'm slipping up there.
Do it in sunnier climes as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, listen, Tom, that's been absolutely fantastic, mate. Thanks so much for your time. I know you're right in the middle of your busy period.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah,
no. Taking some time, so we'll get my jerry cans filled up with some juice.
Yeah, great.
I'll have a go. I've got some bits and bobs at home to have a try.
Yeah, right.
And we'll talk between now and then, see how it's going.
Yeah.
And see if I'm brave enough to enter the competition. I think entries in March, I think. Is it March or May?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think you can enter right up to like the end of May.
Yes.
So yeah, if there's anybody else who wants to enter, it's all blind.
I mean, you should say that. We've got a couple of other lads who've been listening to the podcast and said, oh, that sounds like a good idea.
Oh, yeah.
So we've got everyone from, I think one guy's going to try and make it just from supermarket apple juice, so we'll see if he gets on with that.
Yeah.
And a few collecting off local trees. And
yeah,
I think
great.
there's one guy who's trying to pick some from those apple trees you see by the side of the road.
Oh, yes, yeah.
So that could be a bit of fun. So.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And it's all blind. It's all blind tasting, which I like, and your name's not splattered up there, so don't worry. Don't think, it'll just be in a nice jar on the shelf.
Yeah.
So the public, rightly or wrongly, can't really see very well whose is whose.
Yes.
So just stick it up there, and it helps the competition, helps the Royal Cornwall show.
There were some really good entrants this year, weren't there? I think.
Yes, yeah.
There were quite a lot in the amateur category. So for a first-time cider maker like myself, apart from obviously keep everything sterile and clean, what would be your best advice for a first-time tryer?
Oh, yeah, you got it, really, yeah. Keep everything clean. Don't panic and give it a bit of time. Don't be in too much of a rush to rack it off or anything. I would put it in your fermentation vessel and put it in your garage or somewhere cool, and I'll be tempted to leave it till New Year.
Indeed.
And then rack it off and try not to expose it to too much air.
Yes.
And once you rack it off, again, give it time. Don't be undoing a cap and going into it all the time.
Don't mess about with it.
No. And, dry cider, which it will be dry cider.
Yes.
Will be properly dry, but that doesn't mean a lot of people taste it and think, oh, that's not right or anything. But, a true dry cider is really dry, and but that's nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
So yeah, just give it a go.
If it looks like it isn't fermenting,
do something else and go back in a few weeks, and it will be.
Fine.
Yeah.
Just let it be. Let it do its thing.
Yeah, let it do its thing.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Tom, cheers, mate.
Right, nice to see you.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Well, what a brilliant afternoon with Tom and the team. Get yourself down to their web shop, haywardfarmcider.co.uk. Order some of the dry in bottles, it's delicious, and if you're anywhere in the vicinity of St Mabyn, pop along, get a blend made up from the barrel cider he's got in the shop there. And if you're down in the summer, get yourself along to one of his music events. Really good way to spend the afternoon, great bunch of people, he has some really good bands on. So anyway, I'm going to take my juice back home now, get some yeast in it, start getting it fermenting, see if I can hopefully make some cider that's worth drinking. It's going to be January till we find out, but thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe, really helps us out. I look forward to seeing you next time on A Year in the Woods.